Welcome to the Breaking 90 podcast, where we talk about all things sustainable fat loss. We take people on 90-day journeys to creating fat loss forever. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Breaking 90 podcast. I'm your host, Alex Harriman, here with my co-host, Kelly Sarlo, and we are two of the coaches of Breaking 90 Fitness. Thanks for being here and listening. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Oh, head cold, ongoing, but it
Same.
is what it is.
Same. I'm just getting the starting one. You're getting the tail end of it. It seems like it's never ending, right?
Yeah, it's wild. Anyway, what's new in your world?
Not a whole lot. We've been having a strange winter, if you will, end of winter, and it's tough. We've been trying to take advantage of it as much as we can, but just getting outside and like getting soaked, we love going for hikes and things like that, and it's like the in between right now with where everything's soaking wet, and it's not like the dry snow or the nice weather, so you're just like, it's like, okay, well, let's go get soaked today, let's go for a hike and get soaked today, and then we'll all come dry off.
Maybe that's why you've got head colds.
Yeah, true, who knows, eh?
Jeez.
I think it's something to do with pressures for sure, that gives me the headaches, so
Yeah,
I'm sure it's all tied together.
it is a weird winter. We're just like, we don't have the beauty and the snow and the access to the activities like we used to.
We haven't really had normal winters in what feels like a while now. Like, even I bought a snowblower when we moved to Barrie, and like I've barely used my snowblower because the snowfalls are small enough for the most part that you're just gonna shovel them. And then there's an occasional big one, but I mean, like, growing up, we were using that thing a couple times a week.
Oh yeah. Jeez. Well, I hope you're getting over the cold soon and that you can find fun outdoors.
I don't mind like a head cold doesn't bother me that much because it doesn't affect my energy drastically. Usually it can clear it up with like an Advil cold and sinus, and it gives you kind of an excuse to slow down and like appreciate a slower pace. You know what I mean? Like, rather than feeling like you have to go, you're like, nah, I my body needs some extra rest. So you just like have some tea and chill on the couch. Like, I kind of like that excuse once in a while.
I'm so jealous. As you were saying this, my ear is popping. Like I can hear my sinuses whistling.
No, I don't get hit by colds that hard.
That's good. Good for you.
Yeah.
What do you have for us today?
We're coming up on March break, and I know it's a tough time of year for a lot of people. So just wanted to like do a real quick episode today, leaving the audience with maybe some tips, tricks, and strategies to navigating March break and coming out of it in a better spot than they typically would.
Cool. I like that.
So I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna start off here just by giving you exactly what I just said there. I want you to look at anytime we come into a particularly difficult time of year, rather than looking at it from like, how can I navigate this optimally? I want you to look at, how can I navigate this a little bit better than I did in the past? So look at your previous March breaks and think about how you handled it, but from all different standpoints, right? Like, from the what you wanted to get out of it, what you wanted to get out of it from a nutrition standpoint, what you wanted to get out of it from a movement standpoint. Look at all of that and what you've done in the past. And when you set your goals for this year, just try to make them a little bit better than that. Because we it's not uncommon to get into that all or nothing thinking where it's like, okay, I'm gonna smash this March break. It's gonna be amazing. I've got 5 days off work or whatever, and I want to like work out extra hard and eat extra clean, do a bunch of meal prep. And then as soon as you fall short of that, you get into that like, shit, I failed. And it's easy to throw in the towel. So I don't want to approach it from that mindset this year. What are your thoughts on that?
I like it. I like that you're kind of bringing up how we teach people to approach holidays just in general, where you're making the decision ahead of time what you want to get out of it or how you want to approach it. I know you've said in the past, like, You can decide that you still wanna make progress, and that's a purpose. You can decide that you wanna minimize the damage, and like you said, just do a little bit better than last year. Um, but I think knowing what you wanna do ahead of time is gonna help you with which what something I'm sure we're gonna talk about today, which is planning. Um, if you don't have a plan of what you wanna get out of it, then it's difficult to kind of understand what actions you wanna take, right?
Yeah. And like before you even make that plan, decide what your priorities are and what is really important to you through March break. So we do this often, but our priorities are shifting, and especially in a time of year like March break where it's like a short stint, it's 7, I guess 9 days long for the kids. Um, you may or may not be working, but look at what your like main priorities are right now. They might not be the exact same as they were the week before March break or the week after March break. You might be like, no, I'm going to make this a kick-ass family week, and like doing fun family activities is priority number one. Or you might be like, no, mostly everything's going to operate normal. I'm still going to work each day. They're going to day camp, and I do want to prioritize my health and fitness. There's no wrong answer here, but approaching it without consciously deciding that is the wrong answer. Like that's how you're going to mess this up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I think too, like, one of the things that shocks me is that people don't necessarily, think that during something like a March break where people have time off potentially, that it has to be something like an occasion. You know, like you just said it, you might be working, it might be business as usual. We flip our mentality really quickly to think, well, the kids are off, the kids want to have fun, the kids want convenience and treats. And then it just therefore equals that we're going to do the same thing
Mm,
instead of thinking like, no, no, business as usual. I'm really happy with, the routine that I'm in. I can accommodate their convenience and stick to what I want to do.
yeah. Yep. Totally. Um, Something I like to do with all of our clients, this works really well from a nutrition standpoint, although you can use it for other factors, is give them four choices for nutrition anytime they come into a holiday or like a particularly challenging week or time of year. Option one is that you're going to do everything the exact same. We're going to come into this, nothing's going to change. I'm going to keep my nutrition the same. I'm going to keep pushing forward. Option two is we still track goals and try to make progress, but we make them a little bit easier. So
Mhm.
they're simpler goals that we are pretty confident we can knock out of the park. Option three is we're not going to track as diligently or at all, but we are going to consciously focus on minimizing the damage every single day. And at the end of each day, you need to be able to reflect back and say, this is what I did to minimize the damage. This is how I made a couple upgrades or better choices than I have in the past. And then option four is I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to do whatever I want and I'm going to go crazy.
Yeah.
All four of these have a time and a place. They do. And people might be shocked to hear me say that, but there is a time and a place for all four of these options. So make that decision before you head in. Now, if you're choosing option four, you have to be very, very real about what that means. If this is a once in a lifetime opportunity and you choose option four, like I don't blame you necessarily, but don't do that and then be upset about what the scale shows or how you feel or coming out of that what that means. There's going to be repercussions to option four,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean it's the wrong option. I just want you to evaluate that. Now, if you're choosing option four multiple times per year, I guarantee you it stops you from getting to your goals.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that you're bringing up to, the following week when you're returning to business as usual. If you've made that conscious choice on your March break, then you're not starting from a place of guilt. You're not starting from a place of self criticism. You're understanding, okay, I chose, options 1 through 4, and I understand what that means coming back into maybe a state of wanting to make progress. Um, there isn't the weight that I think a lot of people feel, and I'm not referring to body weight. I mean the emotional weight of regretting your decisions because they weren't conscious.
Mm, yep. Yep. And I think sorry, I think in most circumstances, options 1 and 4 aren't the right ones, but there are times and places for them.
Yeah.
It's almost always option 2 and 3. But what we often see is people mentally, without actually sitting down and looking at what it means, mentally choose option 1 and act like option 4.
Yes.
Right? So that when you act like option 4 without actually deciding it's going to be option 4, that's when you start beating yourself up and feeling like shit and being disappointed in your choices because you're like, I didn't want to do this, but now I'm doing this. But if you had just chosen option 2 or 3 and you set out a game plan, like it would have been doable.
Absolutely. Can we talk a little bit about actions too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know grocery stores are gonna get crazy busy, especially leading into March break, right? And I think for some people who are leaving those chores last minute and having not made the decision, options 1 through 4, both of these things are really overwhelming, right? And so we're rushing through a very busy grocery store. It affects our mood, it affects our mindset. We're reaching for more for convenience things rather than wanting to actually be proactive. So we can kind of start to consciously or not spiral, right? And I think if people are making that decision, like we've just talked about, options 1 through 4, you're heading into the grocery store with an actual plan too, so that you are being able to fulfill which option you've chosen. And I think making the effort to the best of people's ability to be in that grocery store once, right, at the very beginning, to have things planned out for the week, that's gonna set you up a lot better than having that feeling of, well, again, it's treat for the kids. We're gonna order tonight. We're gonna order again tomorrow night, where we're just kind of giving up or giving in on the plan itself.
That goes for all times of year, guys. Like if you're getting to dinner time and you don't have anything planned, you are going to make a bad choice. Like that's when you're gonna be like, oh, I didn't take any meat out of the freezer. We might as well just order tonight and we'll make something tomorrow. Like, don't put yourself in that situation. All the meal prep doesn't have to be like these mass cookouts on Sunday where you're making food for the whole week. It's just having a clear plan. Just know what you want to do and then actually take the steps necessary to make it achievable. If you're having chicken breasts tonight and you've got a freezer full of chicken breasts, you have to take the chicken breasts out to thaw them.
Yes.
Like don't leave that until 4:30 to be like, "Oops, I accidentally didn't thaw my chicken. I guess we should order pizza."
Yep. I like it. And what about movement? Because I know we've been focusing heavy on nutrition so far. What would you say to navigate the March break with movement plans?
I think the same thing kind of applies with steps 1 through 4. You have to decide what you want it to look like. That's those same rules apply. Um, what I think can change here is if it depends on the person, but if you're a very regimented person who exercises X amount of times per week and you say you strength train 3 times per week every single week, like 1 week of not strength training isn't going to affect you. It could be a great opportunity for recovery. I'm not telling you not to strength train this week. Like if it fits your schedule, do it. But it's okay to throw in a deload or a recovery week, an active recovery week. It's not going to affect your overall progress. So if you have other opportunities during the week of March break to like get out and go skiing or hiking or do like those active recovery things that aren't the same type of demand on the body, like a different activity, but that keeps us moving. Like this is a great week to plan those kinds of things. If you don't have the week off or it's like all systems normal, then stick to your plan. Like get your workouts in. There's no reason to just stop working out because it's March break. But if you want to do a lot more of those like family friend events, like this could be a good week to plan a deload. Once again, planning. If we're stacking too many deloads next to each other, then we don't make progress. But those strategically placed can help our overall progress.
Beautiful. I think too, people assume that if I'm changing my nutritional goals, then my movement goals are going to follow suit. And like you've said, like you could decide to choose option 2 or 3 for your nutrition and stick to, the usual plan for your movement and
Totally.
feel really good about what you're doing for yourself.
Even like I don't know about you guys listening to this, but when I look at my exercise plan for the week, it changes week by week. If I have a particularly light week, I might strength train 5 times that week because I have the extra time to do it and opportunity to do it. I'm going to take advantage of that. In a busy week, I might only strength train twice, and I'll do a lot more walking and cycling and stuff like that that doesn't take up as much time. So like it's what your normal is completely different to you. If you have an opportunity on March break to do a bit more, do a bit more. That's fine. But don't go crazy. Like we're not don't do something that is so far off what your norm is that you're going to come out of this week crushed or not recovering or injured. Like that's not what we're looking to do. It's okay to push yourself and it's okay to make it one of your busier weeks, but don't ever just jump into something that's exponentially more than what your norm is.
Oh, I like that. What else? What other struggles do you anticipate people running into?
Well, not necessarily a struggle, but something I'd like to challenge you all to is like get if you've got young kids at home, like get them involved with this. This is they're away from their normal education platform this week. They're not going to school. Use it as an opportunity to teach them the stuff that you think is important. Teach them Get them involved with cleaning the house, get them involved with outdoor activities, get them involved with helping with the meals. You can make meals so much more fun this week if you don't have the constraints of work and school hours. I know a lot of people still do. I know a lot of people are putting their kids in camps and stuff like that. So it's not this isn't going to work for everybody, but if you're at home with your kids, like take the time to get them involved with prepping a meal. When they do it, like they're learning and they have more appreciation for the outcome. And even like this week, Emerson was coming home telling us they're learning about healthy eating at school. And like he's like, I want to make half of my plate fruits and vegetables because that's what we learned at school. I'm like, awesome. Like, come to the fridge, let's pick out some fruits and vegetables that you want to do that with. Because if I pick, he's not going to eat them. And so he took a bunch of carrots and like some of the other stuff he wanted to eat. And I'm like, that's awesome. I love that. Like make these opportunities happen this week. Um the same thing applies to the fitness when like we're circling back to. If you're doing it as an active recovery week, meaning that we're still trying to move our bodies every day, but we're just not as focused on specific exercise, like ask your kids how they want to exercise today because they'll have ideas, I guarantee it. And just tell them like we are doing some exercise today. So what would you love to get out of that? Would you prefer to go for a hike? Or would you prefer to have a snowball fight? Would you prefer to go to an indoor trampoline park? Or would you prefer to go to an indoor pool? Like give them a couple options and let the exercise part become fun for everybody.
Love that. Yeah,
Eh, that's
great.
my challenge.
That's great. I hope no matter what people's situation is, that they're looking at it more hopeful. And I don't mean that hope is your plan, right? I just mean more hopeful in that you feel that sense of control that you can have over this next week.
Yeah, so clients say this to me a lot. They're like, I hope this is another good week, or I hope I can make this a good week. The more we do this, the longer this journey becomes, the less hope should play a role. Take hope out of it. You know what it takes. And especially if you've been doing this more than a year, because now we can look back to last March break and we can say, how can I either repeat that or make it slightly better?
Yeah.
And we do that every single year. Was it successful? Yes. How can I repeat it or make it slightly better? It doesn't need to be perfect. No holiday needs to be perfect. Not no day needs to be perfect. But if we can say, okay, this is the stuff that went well, I want to do that again. This is the stuff that didn't go well. I'm going to do that slightly better. Remember, we're not trying to clean everything up. I'm going to make it a little bit better than I did last year. You're going to have a kick-ass week. You're going to come out of it flying.
Yeah. Then I'd like to change my word hope to confidence.
Love it.
Yeah, it's
But
good.
it is in the beginning, it is hope because there's a lot of unknown at the beginning of a health and fitness journey. So you're like, I hope this happens and I can do this because you don't know. But you need to work towards the point that you do know, and hope is erased from the formula. Hope isn't going to get us there.
Love it. Good lecture.
Cool. Okay, my closing tip today. Um, you know those like low low fat or low calorie jello packets?
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
So, yeah.
There's like jellos that are sweetened rather than sugar, so they're lower calorie.
Okay.
Anyways, I say low fat because jello probably has zero fat in it, but jello makes a pudding.
Yeah.
And you typically it's like this pudding powder, you mix it with milk, it makes like pudding, but they have a lower cal version of that we've been taking a protein shake, a pre-mixed protein shake, and mixing it with it. So you can get like the premier protein shakes from like Costco or Walmart, and you mix it instead of milk with one of these pudding packs, and it just makes like a high protein pudding,
Cool.
which is like a pretty cool evening snack that we're getting away with like I want to say like a 200 calorie snack with a bunch of protein. It's good. You can add different like granolas and stuff to it if you like that, or like crumble a cookie on top if you have the extra calorie wiggle room for it. But just something that people might like to try.
That's awesome. I love it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for listening. As always, we hope you enjoyed it and we hope you had some takeaways. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're going to ask you the favor that I always ask of you. Please, wherever you're listening, take a screenshot and share this to your Instagram story. Tag at Breaking 90 Fitness so that we can get more listeners like you guys. Thanks. Have a great day.